Welcome to the Jock podcast featuring Dr. London Smith, home of Dr. London Smith himself, host of the Jock podcast. Now, let me introduce your host, Dr. London Jock Smith.
Hello, and welcome to Jock podcast, where we discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, Dr. LondonSmith.com. I would like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We've received some feedback complaining about the amount of technical terms we've been using, such as pedestrian and nipple. So I will try to speak more simply in the future. Here to assist with that is our producer, Cameron.
Hey.
Cameron is like a buoy on the sea, recognizing and rolling with the waves of the world, then applying that understanding to helping me connect with listeners. Also with us is DJ Dun in the house.
Hey.
Plus, Cameron tells me that we have a fitness guru arriving later in the show.
We sure do.
Yeah, so that's stepping a little bit more into the jock aspect of the Jock podcast.
Fitness guru in our podcast. Right?
Yeah. All right, well, before we move on, I would like to address a small sample of listener feedback. Quote, "This is such a beautiful sow tree. My wife, Olive, R.I.P. in pieces, best suitable woman, once told me to be thankful for only losing the one eye to polio. God bless, ha ha ha." End quote. First of all, I would like to thank you for contacting us at Jock. It is, of course, always a pleasure to hear from our listeners. In answer to that question, I'm not sure to which story you are referring, but it does indeed sound beautiful. And I'm sorry to hear about your wife and that you lost your eye to polio, which that actually sounds like an unusual medical case to me. But I wish you well in future endeavors. Thank you for reaching out.
You're so heartless, Dr. London. These people are clearly struggling, and here you are, you're millionaire, billionaire, I don't even know. You don't even offer to send them a check. You don't even offer them to, buy them new shoes. Well, sounds like he needs a new eye.
Well, and that's, for one thing, so polio
there's always an excuse.
Well, and this was just more feedback on how we are doing on the podcast. It wasn't like
Yeah, the feedback is they don't have an eye. And you're crazy rich.
I don't think that that's necessarily the case. Well, let's move on. Okay. So now for a tale from the psych ward. We had a patient in the psychiatric ICU, or PICU, who claimed to be God, and expanded with the claim that he was the reincarnated Judas Iscariot. So when asked how he came to this conclusion, he said, basically just through meditation. He had been...
That's reasonable.
Well, so he had been brought in because, in the intensive care unit, because he was throwing things in a drugstore while yelling about finding a gateway to another world.
Okay, well, if you found a gateway to another world, wouldn't you be a little kind of pissed off?
I don't think so. But also...
I would. If I found out anything that I don't already know about, I'm furious. I'm fuming. I'm fuming thinking about discovering
learning?
Something that I'm not already aware of.
So learning makes you angry.
It's disgusting.
So this podcast
disgusts me. Well, I don't learn anything from this podcast. I'm disgusted by this podcast for many other reasons. But I've never learned anything from this podcast. I've learned how much of a hassle you are.
Okay. Well, okay, so... Anyway, so this patient we had, we did what we do with most patients, which is to ask if any medications have helped them in the past. So we asked what made him feel worse, and he didn't really have an answer. And then we asked what made him feel better, what helped, and he said meth. And of course, what really helped him was a few days of antipsychotic medication. And after that point, he began to realize that perhaps he was not a deity.
So you sucked the joy and the imagination out of this man. This is what society does to people these days.
Well,
So a little creativity, you're a little different, and then people like Dr. London are like, "Oh, you're a circle trying to fit into this square. Become a square."
well, especially in this instance, the cops were called on him because he was tearing up a drugstore.
He had a vibe. He
Trying,
was just trying to vibe out, and then Dr. London comes in and says, "No, you have to be like everybody else." Dude, just ride the vibe.
All right, well, so we'll go ahead and move on from there to today's topic, congestive heart failure. Congestive heart failure is a chronic progressive condition that occurs when the heart is unable to efficiently pump blood to the rest of the body. This results in the blood backing up into the lungs, and it can even progress further into backing up blood into the neck veins and the liver. So depending on the stage of the disease progression, patients can present with orthopnea, which is when they have shortness of breath while lying down.
Mm-hmm.
They can also have what's called paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea, which is sort of a breathless awakening from sleep. They feel like they can't breathe whenever they're asleep, so they wake up and like rush to the window to get a breath. And they can also have pulmonary edema, which is sort of congestion in the lungs. Essentially, the easy way to think about it is blood backing up on the left side of the heart into the lungs, and that excess blood circulating through the lungs causes congestion. That results in difficulty breathing.
What do you call it? I actually really like your advice on this because I've been struggling with this lately. What do you call it when you have shortness of breath after you kind of dive bomb off your roof?
Did you dive bomb off your roof?
Yeah, well, I do it every day. That's my main form of exercise. And I'm so out of breath afterwards. It hurts like hell.
Okay, so you dive bomb from and this is just to like your form of exercise every day in the morning, did you say?
I didn't specify a time.
Oh, okay. So, but this is your exercise.
Does it need to be in the morning? Because that can happen. Is that the issue?
To my understanding, dive bombing is not necessarily the best form of it. And when you say, sorry, to clarify, when you say dive bombing, you mean you just jump off head first?
Yeah.
Off of your roof?
Yeah, into like a pile of boxes or something to catch my fall. I'm not diving off into the ground. I'm not a moron.
Okay, good. Okay.
But I am just out of breath.
Well, probably, like, how are you landing? Are you landing on your chest?
Yeah.
So,
that's what I'm trying to work out, is my chest. So I guess it kind of does depend. If it's leg day, then yeah, I'm going to land on my legs. But if it's chest day, which it almost always is, of course I'm going to land on my chest. But then I just can't breathe at all.
Well, I don't think that that's necessarily the best way to get exercise, because normally exercise is sort of using the muscles rather than just putting sudden violent pressure on them. It sounds like you are just causing bruising to your chest, probably. Is it like blue and like is it discolored afterwards?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
but that's what working out is. It's you hurt yourself and then it heals itself a little bit bigger.
Yeah, in a way. But so in that case, what you're doing is just hurting yourself rather than, it's not breaking down muscle in the sort of the constructive way that like weightlifting would be, which is more intentional. It's not the same.
So you're saying at the Olympics, weightlifting is more of a sport than diving?
Then dive bombing off of a roof into a pile of boxes, yes.
Well, I'm trying to make that an Olympic sport.
Oh, this is
part of the whole Olympics thing. Yeah.
Okay.
For those maybe who haven't heard, my favorite sport is the Olympics, and I've been trying to get some of my games into the Olympics. We had talked about getting my nephew's gun, and you shoot targets off people's back. We talked about like picking up coins in huge sacks.
Yeah, I remember.
This is sort of the third game that I'm testing.
Okay. And the game is, once again,
It's exercise. Sorry, it's not a game.
You jumping off of your roof into a pile, depending on
whatever, yeah.
Of whatever.
Whatever's around.
I guess out of curiosity, does what you jump into factor into the type of game you're doing?
Does
that factor into which? Because I know you talked about leg day and chest day.
Yeah, I'm not jumping into like a pile of legs. Is that what you're asking?
No.
I could.
No, okay, and once
I feel like you probably have access to stuff like that, right?
I don't think
Could you get me some legs?
this isn't.
We'll talk after the podcast.
Yeah, what you're describing as a workout, it just isn't.
But you can give me like human legs that I could dive bomb into, right? Because that's an interesting thread.
Okay, yeah, no, let's move on.
Okay.
Let's move on.
We'll talk about the body parts later.
Okay, well, Cameron, do we have any sponsors today?
We absolutely do, Dr. London.
Okay.
Our sponsor for today is another dating app.
Oh, okay. I always like to connect people, so.
Yeah, absolutely. This is for Twilight dating.
Oh, okay. So is it like a vampire kind of?
No. It actually really, really stresses. This has nothing to do with the Twilight series. If you make an account and you make your picture Robert Pattinson, you will be banned immediately.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing to do with that.
Okay.
This is for the exploding demographic of men and women over the age of 115 years old.
115.
Have you joined a dating app that's supposed to be for people over the age of 100 and you're tired of dealing with all these young people who can't even relate to you? This app is for you.
I mean, I recognize that there's technically a generation gap, but
Huge gap.
Whenever you reach that age, I would assume that it kind of becomes like somewhat irrelevant, that the 10 or 15 years situation.
It's just, I mean, if you're born in 1903, are you really going to be able to relate to someone who was born in 1919? Makes no sense.
One born into the war.
These kids born in 1919, they don't know what life was like before
the Great War. Yeah,
World War I or whatever.
Yeah, you've tried to sneak in and join them, even though you don't fit into that demographic necessarily.
Oh, right.
You didn't try that with this one, did you?
Well, I mean, of course I did.
Because and I don't want to like give away your age or anything, but you're not. I know you're under 100 years old.
Let me just put it this way: I'm not going to go into too many details because a gentleman never kisses and tells.
So, I guess. So you joined the dating app?
Yep. And it went really, really, really well.
In the past, I know with other dating apps, you've been rejected quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were breaking the rules or whatever. So this one, I guess security's not quite as tight.
Well, here's the thing. I just used the Face app old age thing to age me up.
Okay.
I just ran it through that like 7 times, just over and over again. So it just kept making it older.
Right, because it had to be that old.
And then my girlfriend that I had met through the app.
Oh, she is your girlfriend?
She sort of sees everything as just kind of blurry blobs.
Okay, yeah, with vision loss and everything, cataracts, that kind of thing at that age.
And I mean, look, does she get the same references
I would imagine.
I make?
I would imagine that she does not.
Whatever.
So
that's not what love is about, you know?
Right. So, okay, so you really feel like a real connection with her romantically.
A connection with her lips.
Okay, could I ask her name?
No.
Okay, and what does she... Well, I would ask what does she do, but I'm guessing she's retired?
I haven't asked.
Okay, so you... What made you guys...
Our mouths are a little too busy to talk, I should say.
Okay, well... I guess...
At Twilight Dating, you can find someone to share your burial plot with. You don't want to be buried alone. They also have special prices on different packages. If you know that this is your last 72 hours, you get a discount. If you know this is your final 24 hours, you get an even better discount. You can meet other people who only have 72 hours left too.
Okay, and like have that time sort of meeting someone new who you can sort of make a connection. I was going to say lasting connection, but obviously not lasting.
Or, you could meet someone presenting as you only have 72 hours left, and then maybe trying to get into their will.
Is this what you were with
our mouths were too busy
to talk about wills?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I am.
So this has nothing to do with me.
I guess I am glad about that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds. Any other details on that?
It costs like $200,000 to sign up.
Okay. Well, hopefully one of our listeners is 115 years old or more, and are interested in spending at that age. Maybe some people have that kind of wealth stored up for their last little bit of time.
Yeah, you better.
All right. Well, thank you. And thank you to what was the name of that dating app again?
Twilight Dating.
Twilight Dating, and it's
not the movie or books.
Yeah, it's not Team Edward, not Team Jacob.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you to our sponsor. Cameron, you said you had a fitness guru here as a guest today. Is that right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Fitness guru into the podcast.
Yeah, no, you did say that earlier.
Uh-huh.
All right. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. My name is drlondonsmith.com, and this is the Jock podcast. And this is Cameron.
Thank you for stopping by.
No, I really appreciate you guys having me. It's a blessing to be here. It really is.
All right. And what was your name?
John.
John. Okay. Well, nice to meet you, John. All right. And so Cameron tells me that you're sort of a fitness guru.
Yeah, I mean, fitness is my life, and it's all I do. But I would really say that I'm just a guy with a passion. I wouldn't say that I'm an expert or a guru, but I suppose someone like yourself would. So it's more of a hobby for you, but you know so much about it that to the average person, maybe your hobby is extensive knowledge.
Maybe
in comparison,
the ignorant masses like yourself wouldn't really understand.
That's the one.
Kind of fitness knowledgeable people like John and myself.
So you, Cameron, you would also group yourself into this fitness.
I just talked to you about my regimen.
Can I be honest with you?
Ago.
I walked into the room, and this is what usually happens. I pick out people that have a passion for fitness, and I can just see it.
Yep.
And producer Cameron definitely has that passion.
But if I could ask, what was part of your assessment? What factors go into that initial assessment? Because for me, it'd be looking at the muscle groups, like seeing do they have sizable deltoids, the biceps, whatever, those kinds of things.
Well, I don't know what those words are, but I just look a man in the eyes, and I'll stare for about 3.8 seconds. That's all it takes.
Yep.
And I know.
Wow.
So for you...
he doesn't need devices like you do. Oh, let me stick you into this CAT scan machine. Let me get this little thing that I use to hit your knees and elbows to see if they pop because I'm crazy. It's not like that. If you're a real expert, you just see someone's heart.
Okay, so what you're saying is that rather than looking at muscle and those are pretty basic muscle groups that most people know, like deltoids, those are kind of your shoulder area,
Would you say that one more time for me?
Deltoids?
Del what?
Okay, no, not the computer. No, this is anyway, so there are these muscle groups that usually you can sort of size people up a little bit and say oh, this person works out, or their pecs, that kind of thing. Pectoralis, major, minor. Major is what you see.
Pectoralis.
Yeah.
No.
You sound incredulous.
So what I feel like right now, do you watch Jimmy Fallon? Because what he does, he's got this bit on the show where he goes on the sidewalk and he makes up these facts, and people don't know that they're fake, and so they agree to him. Is that what you... Jimmy? Is Jimmy here today?
That would be great for us, but
the whole show makes so much more sense if it was just Jimmy Fallon making Dr. London tell us insane, nonsensical, stupid, ignorant, waste of time.
That would make it make sense?
Yeah.
If Jimmy Fallon was manipulating my words.
If Jimmy Fallon told you, hey, go out there as a fun prank, why don't you say the stupidest, dumbest things you can possibly think of, waste everyone's time, and just make everyone's lives significantly worse? That would, oh my God.
You think that
John is really onto something here.
That would make more sense than just trying to educate people about medicine.
Would you call it more sense when one thing makes zero sense and one thing just does?
Yeah.
Would that be more, or would that just be sense?
You times anything by 0, it's 0, you know?
Boom.
Yep.
Right. Okay, so...
Times anything by a negative, it's a negative.
Well, I don't know about that.
Right, well, if it's a positive.
Okay, so, John, what about your fitness... What about your lifestyle makes you feel like you are a fitness guy, aside from the eye contact?
Sure, absolutely. So I don't know if you noticed when I walked in, I've got to walk a little sideways through the doorways. The latimus dorsi, it's actually the largest muscle group in the upper body. It's what I focus on.
Well, it's not like it's a large muscle on the back. Like dorsi comes from it's for the back, like the dorsal fin of a fish. It's
Latin, back. Doctor.
And then latissimus. The whole group of word is like big muscle on the back, latissimus dorsi. So that muscle is normally like for climbing specifically.
Right, being able to hang for a long amount of time and pull yourself up.
Right.
Wow. And that's what I spend. I would say probably 95 to 99.99% of my time on.
Wow.
What about the rest of your time? That other 5-ish%?
Yeah, that's spent walking into and out of the gym.
Okay. So you're training exclusively and with all of your time on this one particular muscle group, because I will say, like, your arms are just atrophied. Like there's nothing there. They're gaunt. And your legs also, like, very spindly. Your neck, like, everything looks pretty like malnourished almost. But admittedly, your latissimus dorsi is kind of there. From what I can see, at least, it's an odd shape, to be honest.
Sure. Yeah, I can see how someone like yourself might think that. Mm-hmm. And you said a lot of big words before.
It's what he tries to do. He tries to trip you up by throwing around these terms just to kind of make you feel small.
Sure. And it's got me on edge because I don't know them. So I feel like you want me to be smaller because I am so large with my latimus dorsi. So careful. All right.
Let's have a little respect for our guest, Dr. London.
And I did not mean to offend in any way. I am more trying to clarify and understand.
Maybe your clarification needs clarification.
Okay, well, so you're working out this particular muscle group. Why not work out your, I guess to be more simple about it, your arms?
Okay.
Or any of that?
Yeah, because you don't need your arms as much in climbing. You need your latimus dorsi.
Okay, so you're a climbing enthusiast. I should have asked that, of course.
No.
Okay, well, why are you? So you work out your climbing muscles exclusively.
Correct.
But you do not climb.
That's correct. I don't like to climb. In fact, I only climbed once by accident, and I don't intend to go.
I'm sorry. On accident, you climbed?
That's correct.
In what scenario was? How did this come about? And how? I don't often accidentally climb. That seems like a very sort of an action that requires more initiative. You don't fall into that. It's the opposite of falling into something.
One morning I woke up in a tree and I fell out, but my shoes were still on the top of the tree, so I had to climb back up. It was an accident that I fell out.
Yeah.
Okay, so the falling out was the accident, but the climb. Okay, that makes sense. So, was it based on that experience?
No, I am just prepared, and it's a specific preparation, I understand, but what if I go to the Grand Canyon?
Okay.
Right. And my tour guide, Chadwick Howell III,
Chadwick Howell.
He goes by Chad, though.
Okay.
But with a name like that, you got to think, he's from the Northeast. There's nothing to climb up there. What does he know?
Yeah,
so I've got to be prepared, right?
Okay.
Right. So I'm in the Grand Canyon, Colorado River, nice and cool. All of a sudden, Chadwick's like, hey, let's get out of here. He falls and hits his head.
Wow.
Now, Chad's got blonde hair, so you can see all of the blood, right? And I can see the way out. It's straight up. I've got to be able to climb.
Yeah.
Dr. London Smith.
Everyone's biggest fear.
Right.
Wow.
So you're... So, okay, do you have any plans to go to the Grand Canyon? Why is this...
No, it's actually very hot there, and I'm not into that.
Okay. So this... You have this sounds just so specific, this scenario that you have in your head.
This is everyone's biggest fear, Dr. London.
Specific, broad, those are just words.
Yeah.
Latimus dorsi, these are muscles
Well, okay.
for climbing.
Well, on that, Cameron, you say it's everyone's... I've never heard you mention this particular fear.
This is what keeps me awake at night and all day.
All day as
Yeah,
well?
I can't sleep. And when I do, I'm dreaming about this.
Okay, and sorry, to restate the issue here, you're preparing, you're working out these muscles, latissimus dorsi, you're working these out specifically for this scenario in which you're in the Grand Canyon with the tour guide, Chad, and that tour guide becomes incapacitated.
Correct.
And then you just have to climb your way out of the situation. And that's this hypothetical that you don't want to go there even. Mm-hmm. This hypothetical is why you work out.
You're a real survivalist, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I am prepared for that situation anytime, any day. And the thing is, Chad never has the proper climbing equipment. So it's not like I've got ropes and I can anchor into the wall. It's a free climb. You seen that documentary, Free Solo?
I have not.
Yeah, me neither. But he doesn't use ropes, I think.
Okay, so sorry to clarify on this. You said you were not like a climbing enthusiast. Have you tried, let's say, free climbing, like you're saying? Like that seems like something that would be reasonable, like beyond building the muscles, learning the technique. Have you learned to free climb and?
Well, he told you that he climbed into that tree that he fell out of. That was presumably free. Didn't cost him any money.
Well,
Might have
that
cost
was
him a
at
shoe.
gunpoint, but
There was a gunpoint.
well, yeah. I mean, producer Cameron mentioned that I was free to climb the tree, but it was at gunpoint. So was it really free?
Yeah, that's true.
So, okay, I guess we can. So that situation there.
Do you have a gun when you're in the Grand Canyon?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It's a Rubberband gun, but I have a gun.
Okay, wow.
Okay.
This is the kind of survivalist stuff we need to be talking about, Dr. London.
Okay. I guess.
Real, raw stuff. Real stuff that people deal with.
Okay, so with the tree situation, maybe, and I'm sorry if this is going to be getting a little bit more uncomfortable, but I would like to ask, was that a traumatic experience for you? And maybe that's that fear is that what drives you to have all of this? Was it like sort of a post-traumatic situation?
Wow. I just... Producer Cameron, can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah.
Can we just...
Dr. London, could you
I'll step
here?
back
Do you want to play a game on my phone? Just
No,
play a game on my phone. I'm just gonna
I'll-
load up
Okay.
that Poppy Jump from 15 years ago, and you can play that. Okay.
Is he always this insensitive?
Yeah. Is he always just a huge, just jerk ass piece of jerk?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He finds the things that he thinks will humiliate you, and then he shoves it in your face over and over and over again.
Yeah, from the beginning, when I walked in, I felt like he wanted me to feel small.
And the thing is, when we leave, when we're in the parking lot, he's going to go, man, that guy was a loser.
Okay.
He's such a big loser.
Okay, so
Wow,
the phone just had one of the stickers on it with the pictures of apps.
Uh-huh.
Was that So that's not a game.
Well, if you
supposedly.
shake it, there's kind of like little beads in there, and I think it lights up.
Well, I feel like you guys are probably done talking about whatever, or...
Give us like 30 more seconds.
Okay, I get...
Yeah, just shake the phone. Just
Okay,
rattle it. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, if we get into the parking lot, it's going to be like, oh, I hate everyone. I hope all my patients die. I'm going to do surgery on them, even if they don't need it, just to screw with them, because that's what makes me feel powerful. That's the kind of guy he is.
Okay. Well, I'm just glad I'm not by myself.
Oh, it's
here.
not specific to you.
Okay.
You're the expert
right
here.
Well,
don't worry.
thank you. Okay.
Okay, well, so let's...
I did want to clarify one thing, though.
Yeah.
You did mention that 5% to 0.01% of your time is spent leaving and then coming to the gym.
Correct.
But you also spend time falling out of this tree. Do you live in this tree? And is it outside the gym?
Okay, this is actually a fair question.
Do you leave the gym, climb up into the tree, live in that tree, leave the tree, and go back to the gym?
Because the tree situation...
That seems awesome.
I was going to say, that was the part...
efficient.
Waking up in a tree is what I didn't understand. It sounded like...
Pretty sure he lives in the tree. That's dedication. Something you would never understand.
Right.
You would never live in a tree outside of the hospital.
I will say...
Because you're too obsessed with your cozy bed and your big TV.
And when I spent that 3.8 seconds staring into your eyes, I thought about giving it a little more time because I thought maybe it's there. It just wasn't. So, to answer your question, yes. And also, yeah.
Okay, to both of the same question of do you live in a tree?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you're just affirming twice. Okay.
Right. Well, you seemed like you needed a little extra affirmation from me. I don't
Yeah.
know why.
Okay.
Now, wait a minute. What I fear that you think of me is that I just live in a tree like a bird.
In the sense that birds often live in trees, like that, as far as that comparison goes, yes, but no further. I don't think that you are a bird person, if that's what you're getting at.
It wasn't, but now that you've mentioned it,
Okay.
my lats are pretty wide. Oh, I'm sorry. Lats. That's what we in the gym biz call.
Latissimus dorsi, right?
Wow.
So lats, it's just easier for you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I know producer Cameron, you understand.
Oh, I don't know the
everything.
jargon. I just know how to like work out and
Sure.
you know,
yeah, you don't
be healthy.
You don't
I
spend
don't get
time
caught up
getting
in the
caught up.
jargon and the-
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I can see that.
the hoo-ha
I didn't even need
of
the
it all.
3.8 for you. I saw that right away.
So that in that one scenario, and I'm sorry if this is too, if I'm prying too much, then please just stop me and we can move on.
Okay.
But that time whenever you fell out of the tree and wanted to climb back up, and you had a gun held to your head, was that a rubber band gun? And was there a child there with rubber band gun? And that was the coercion going on there?
Dr. London, are you scared of someone pointing a rubber band gun at you?
Slightly, maybe.
Okay. So if you're only slightly scared of that, would I be scared at all?
It's tough to tell at this point.
Is it?
Okay, so that's the answer we're gonna get for that one? Is okay.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear that John was probably nesting in his tree, and a hunter came by, and tried to do what hunters do.
Because
I wasn't wearing bright orange, so in fairness to the man,
He just sees something in the tree.
he saw it fall. He thought, hey, that's easy.
Yeah, easy shot.
Luckily, he got close enough before anything happened.
Mm-hmm.
and then you climbed back up.
I did. Again, my shoes were up there,
Okay.
and I was headed to the gym, which is right beside my house,
And
which
that's
is
where
the tree.
The hunter was there at the gym.
Well,
When you
yes.
say hunter, when we say hunter here, do we mean a child?
Why are you so fixated on these kids?
It's only because the rubber band guns generally are a thing associated with children toys, and And so
just because I'm prepared to be stuck in the Grand Canyon with the tour guide Chad with blonde hair that's bleeding that can't climb, and I've got a rubber band gun, doesn't mean that everyone around me has a rubber band gun or that I've ever seen a rubber band gun.
And it sort of sounds like you're calling our guest a child because he happens to have a rubber band gun in preparation for survival.
Except that he doesn't have the rubber band gun. It's a hypothetical scenario in which...
Well, yeah, I don't think he has a rubber band gun.
No, but I'm prepared in this scenario with the rubber band gun.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's all part of this very, very specific hypothetical.
You've got to be ready.
It's my biggest fear.
Right.
I cry. I can't blink longer than an instant because if I do, I see it.
And
I'm not prepared.
So for you, it's just the idea of climbing in the Grand Canyon, though?
I don't know anything about Chad at all.
So are you scared because you just heard about Chad?
I just don't know anything about him. He's an enigma.
And so Chad's the scary part for you.
What are we going to talk about?
So for you, it's not just the climbing situation.
It's all of it.
It's the conversation before he gets incapacitated.
It's just everything. What am I going to wear?
Right. Okay.
This is why I need advice from someone like our guest to help me through these kind of things, to teach me survival.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you.
Which is why I'm here to announce I am moving into John's tree.
Yeah, there's plenty of space.
Sweet.
I'm sorry, when you say tree, I should clarify this. Is it a tree house or is it a tree? Like just a... you mentioned, Cameron, you mentioned nest as if... Like, have you visited this tree living space?
I can imagine it.
Okay. And John, is it... I don't know if you did confirm that you live in a tree.
Correct.
Is it a tree house? Is it a...
The tree is my house, yes.
Well, the tree is your house?
Correct.
Like, is part of it
and
hollowed out?
Think about it. Whenever kids leave their parents' house, the parents become empty nesters. The house is the nest.
Mm-hmm.
So, with all that, yes, the tree is my house.
Okay. I guess. Never mind. So, Cameron, you're going to go live in the same tree.
To learn survival, yeah.
And you're calling it a tree house, even though it possibly is just a tree that you refer to as a house. All right. Well, that's great. Thank you, John, for coming by and sharing your fitness knowledge with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you, Cameron, as always. Thank you to Doing the House. And this has been the Jock Podcast.